Hard Rock Lunchbox.
I am late and I suck. Both things are true. Both things can be true, and both things are true. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very late edition of the Hard Rock Lunchbox. And of course, if you're watching this on Strangerhood TV on YouTube, welcome to the top 20. It is a monsoon out here. It is Halloween Eve, which is funny since Halloween is actually Hallows Eve. So it's Hallows Eves. It's October 30th, 2025, and it's very rainy outside. This month is just going so bananas. Like, I can't even believe Halloween is tomorrow. Like, it was just August, and I feel like I was complaining about that at the time, so ipso facto, I'll start complaining about this now. How's everybody doing? I am sorry that I am late. I know I feel like I complain about work, but I don't mean it to complain, but like it's so all encompassing sometimes. Like, I was working on something yesterday where I literally had about 534 variables just spinning around in my head while I was trying to export out all this data. For those of you nerds out there, I was basically trying to create a relational table-like base for a tariff system. Going from one relational system to another relational system. So this nerd moment has been brought to you by the Hard Rock Lunchbox, ladies and gentlemen. But I was doing that yesterday, and it was so data intensive. I was probably working on it for a straight 5 hours. And by the end of it, by the time I was done, around 7 whatever last night, like, my head was just like, you ever have so many thoughts, like you can start physically feeling them inside of your skull? Like, that's kind of where I was at. So I was just super wiped out. But I was trying to do some catch-up before, and I just, it just got away from me. And so that's why I'm late. Also, if you were disappointed by the fact that I was late, you're going to be crazy disappointed that I pulled absolutely no music for today's show. Yeah, I just did not get to it. I've been full on all morning, and just like I said, just trying to catch up on some stuff I was late on. And I had Monday off, and it's a funny reason I have Monday off, because I have a couple jobs, right? Like, I own my own company, so I do a lot of that stuff, but I actually have like an actual full-time job. And so at my full-time job, I get full-time benefits and stuff like that, which includes vacation time and PTO for those corporate enough to know what that means. But so the company that I work for actually has it's not an uncommon policy. Like, some companies, like, when you build up too much PTO, like at the end of the year, they just cash you out for whatever you haven't worked, which honestly I would prefer. I don't take a lot of time off. I don't take a lot of vacation time. I don't vacate all that often. So it's not surprising that I would have a lot of extra time off, just sort of in storage. And, usually I'm away for like a week a year in the summers, or in the fall and stuff, for family stuff. But, lately, because things have been just so, kind of not screwy, that's the wrong word, but and unstable isn't the word either, but it's in flux, let's say. Like, so things have been in flux for like the past couple years, where we've had, we might be going away here, or we might be doing this. My middle kid moved down to Texas earlier this year. I had planned to take a week off to go with him we were going to rent a U-Haul and drive a trailer to drive his car down there. So I was going to go do that with him. So I kind of earmarked that. That didn't end up happening. It ended up being much cheaper to just put his car on a transport and get him down there and have him fly. So we ended up doing that. We were considering going to visit him at one point, but then it actually made more sense for him to come up here because he was playing in a tournament and just a whole bunch of other stuff. So I ended up not taking any real quantitative vacation time over the past couple of years. And so as I started saying, like, some companies have a policy when you get to the end of the year or when you get to your cap, they just start paying you out for the hours that you would have worked. My company does not do that. My company has a use it or lose it policy, which is fine considering they have a generous storage amount. So like I can store a lot of my personal time off and it rolls over. It's also not front loaded, which is great, which means I earn some every week, which would be good if I was like burning through it. But my point is I've reached, earlier this year, I kind of reached the cap of what I could store. And while I could work, then I would just be accumulating this vacation time that would just go into the garbage. And I was like, well, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm a pretty company guy as it goes, so like I'm not opposed to it on its face, but at some point, like, it really is just sort of stupid to do that. So I've had to take like some sporadic days off here just to bring myself under the ceiling. And so this Monday was one of those. I was about to pass my cap, so I took one of those. And it's just funny because I mean, I'm sure other people go through this, but dude, when you don't work on Monday and you have such a regular schedule as I do, like, everything feels wrong. Like, I couldn't tell you what day it is on any given day of the week. This week, I was behind on absolutely everything because obviously I was off on Monday and not everybody else was off, so I was getting stuff in on Mondays. I was playing catch up to do that. Like, this shouldn't sound unfamiliar. I mean, I have not been in a corporate structure for most of my life, so this is kind of odd for me. I've been solely in my own corporation, so I get to set the rules for a majority of my career, and this is really, I guess, over the past 5 years, the first time I've been part of such a corporate structure. So it's really funny, but it's led to so much disarray in my weekly planning of like and now I live my life by Outlook reminders and some Apple reminders for different things, but most of my life is driven. Like, if Outlook says to do it in 15 minutes, I'm definitely doing it within the next 20, so it's kind of like that. But I've just been in such disarray. Like, I completely forgot it was Thursday till a little while ago, which led to me not pulling any songs. I also didn't change my Facebook cover to let people know the show is on, so I'm grateful for anybody that just remembered on their own. Super appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, I am discombobulated, I believe would be the technical term, and so that's what's going on with me. But I did have off Monday, and that was nice. I got a couple more Mondays coming up, so please put in your calendar to expect me to be late several times on Thursday for the rest of the year. Although I will try and do a better job of it. In fact, I've got to make a note about something I've got to do today, so I'm just going to have a pencil right here. Yeah, I know, stunning for radio. So, how's everybody doing? I was at Walmart this weekend. I don't shop at Walmart, typically. And I don't mean to be condescending or be a dick about it, but I don't shop at Walmart because I don't. I tend to not like low-quality products for, low cost and stuff. I tend to like medium-quality products for medium cost. Most of my shopping is pretty much done at, in-person shopping is either going to be done at Costco or Uncle Giuseppe's. Now, Uncle Giuseppe's is super expensive as far as I'm concerned. It's way more expensive than any other supermarket, but it is kind of a specialty supermarket. So they do, like, for example, their prepared foods are like really good. Like, I really like that. Like, I've eaten a lot of prepared foods at like Stop and Shop, like in Long Beach and stuff, and I'm here to tell you they are not as good as the Uncle Giuseppe's ones. So I like Uncle Giuseppe's. The problem is it's my closest supermarket by miles. Like, I can walk and be inside Uncle Giuseppe's in 7 to 8 minutes from my house, which is awesome. The next closest one, I mean, it's probably a 5 to 10 minute drive. Like, that's how far it is. So I end up shopping there. But I went to Walmart because one of the reasons I like to go to Walmart is, depending on when you go, Walmart is just pure chaos. And I love that sometimes. So sometimes when I really don't have anything to do or I've got to kill some time between some things on a weekend, like, I'll go to Walmart just to people watch. To date, my favorite time ever going to Walmart is we were hitting a flask in the parking lot, so we got a really solid buzz on, and then we walked into Walmart, and we picked the date specifically because it was the Saturday night before Easter. Now, let me tell you, if you want to see the running of the single dads, that is the day to do it, because those dudes are in there buying everything you possibly can that's left for their kids on Easter, because they've forgotten all week because they're single dads. And so there were peeps everywhere. Peeps as in people, but peeps also as in the marshmallow chicks, absolutely everywhere. And to me, it was just fantastic. And I don't think he'd mind me sharing this story, but I was telling Mike Wayman about how just absolutely wonderful that was. And then he related a story to me where he had to go, I forget what he was going for, but it was like Christmas morning, maybe. And the only place that was open that carried the thing he was looking for one of his kids was Walmart. And he walked in, and he said he had to actually step over a line of blood to get into the store. So Wayman won, me 0 on that one, but it's not like I won't keep trying. And I will, before you ask, there is no chance in hell I am going to Walmart on Black Friday. Not because I wouldn't want to see the chaos and the carnage, because I absolutely would, but the fact that doors open at 5 a.m., unless I happen to be up, the night before, which I would not be. Because, it'd be one thing if it was, the Wednesday Eve shows that we used to do. Because I was, I'd be up till, 2 or 3 getting kicked out of Revolution at that point. From there, it's just, it's a hop, skip, and a jump over to Walmart. But that's Thanksgiving morning, and that's not the same thing. So, if I'm ever out super late on Thanksgiving night, I may just stay up to just watch it, because I feel like I could pick up some bagels or something and just sort of just sit in the car with a cup of coffee and just watch the carnage. Because I would love that. Honestly, and I don't feel like I could go online too, because I don't feel like I'm in any danger of getting trampled. That usually seems to be the shorter, more heavy set, less stable, older women with a cane. It seems like those are the people that get trampled. I truly do not want to go out that way. Of all the ways I've envisioned my demise, it is not getting stomped to death at a Walmart Black Friday celebration. So I'm not worried about that, but I think it would just be fascinating. And given my fascination with people and social psychology and all that other stuff, I think it'd be fun to do. But I digress. So I was at Walmart over the weekend, and I was just kind of going to sort of people watch and maybe see some things. And every now and then I really do get inspired by products at Walmart. Not that I particularly want them, but I look at them sometimes I feel like I'm in a foreign country. Oh, I didn't even know that exists. Now, I do have one particular problem with Walmart, and I don't know why this is, and I don't know if it's specific to my Walmart, but they are always out of chocolate pudding. And it bothers me to no end, because if you're always out of chocolate pudding, order more chocolate pudding. Now, I don't have a huge sweet tooth. I like what I like when I like it. But I just was in the mood for chocolate pudding, and now I'm starting to associate Walmart with chocolate pudding because I never get it there. And so the gambling addict in me is oh, is it going to be this time? But no, it's never. It's never any time. But they did have plenty of tapioca pudding, and tapioca pudding can definitely go swing for my nuts. It's no replacement for chocolate pudding. So they didn't have chocolate pudding, so I was of course they don't have chocolate pudding. But sometimes I do see other products that you really just don't see anywhere else. It's it's kind of I envision what it would be like shopping in a slum of Mumbai or something like that. You know what I mean? You just see something super interesting, but I saw none of that. What I did notice this particular weekend is that there were just people flooding into Walmart, and I was okay, well, Halloween's coming, but it's not yet. And they were well stocked for Halloween candy. I mean, I didn't get any of it because, it was actually way too overpriced because they know they got you. But I noticed there was this flood of people coming in, and we realized that it was basically because SNAP benefits are ending, I guess this weekend. So people that depend on SNAP, which is food assistance for those of you that don't know, are trying to get as much of this stuff as they're going to need, because there doesn't seem to be an end to this government shutdown in sight, which is sad and also quite to be expected if you're following any of the news, also following any of the nonsense that's coming out of Washington. And we've covered a lot of that here. But it was really kind of sad. And I pointed out, I'm really glad I don't live this way. And I'm not throwing any shade at anybody for their financial circumstances. I grew up dirt poor, right? My mom was a single mom who had a host of I would find out later psychological complexes that aided in us being dirt poor. But, like, it was not like the best meals we would ever have as children were either meals that lasted 3 days, like rigatoni casserole, which I did not mind so much. The ham and cheese casserole, probably one of the banes of my very existence. Like, I hope I never even see it again. But the other things were like, we would get the absolute, like, worst foods you can get from places like Taco Bell. It's why I'm such a huge fan of Mexi-Melts, because back in the day, it was like 59 cents for a Mexi-Melt. Like, we could afford a few of those, right? Like, because it was super cheap. But also, every great meal I ever had as a kid was basically manager's specials, right? Like 3-day-old meat, stale bread, which is why I'm such a big fan of French toast, because stale bread is doing half the work for you. Like, that was just not uncommon. So, like, I'm not unfamiliar with living in those sort of circumstances. I don't know that we ever... One of the things that my mom had never done was apply for, like, food assistance, which I'm sure we could have qualified for given what, you know, our family's income was with 2 young kids. But she never did that. She would just rather be poor and complain about it. So that's the life I grew up on. So I'm not unfamiliar with the situation. But I was definitely thankful that I've made choices in my life now that I'm not in that situation. And again, not to throw shade, not because it's bad, but could you imagine having whether or not you're going to eat in the month of November tied to absolute nonsense that's going on in Washington? I mean, could you seriously imagine it? And I'm saying that as if there's no people in my listening audience that are exactly imagining it, because it's true. And again, I'm sorry for that situation. I am sorry that, you know, people are playing games with what, you know, you are going to be able to eat and not eat in the coming months. Like, I think this is just absolutely horrible. And the fact that people are still complaining about, like, Democrats versus Republicans when we're talking about Americans that need food assistance because food, A, is at an all-time high, B, you know, the cost of living is at coming close to an all-time high, with inflation starting to rise again, which is why the Fed's just cut rates again, which is dicey at best, and just all these other problems that are going on. Like, we're denying people food. Like, there was a story about the food banks, food pantries in New Jersey that are just stocking as much food as they can because they know what's coming this coming month. People aren't going to be able to buy their food, so they're going to have to wait in line at food pantries to get whatever those food pantries can give them so they can eat. Like, this is the discussion we're having in America right now. Like, oh, we can't give poor people food. Like, are you absolutely kidding me? Like, when you want to talk about things like making America great again, I think feeding your citizens should be towards the top of that list. And it just shows how absolutely hypocritical the GOP is about how they're handling everything. And just as a quick reminder, nothing has changed in the 30 days or 28 days of the shutdown so far. The Republicans want a continuing resolution with no discussion whatsoever. They are not meeting with the Democrats to come up with any kind of solution. They just want the Democrats to roll over and say yes to this continuing resolution. And the Democrats have decided to draw a line in the sand. And that line in the sand is that at the end of this year, people's health care costs that are on the exchange and otherwise are looking to double, triple, and quadruple in some states, including states like Maryland, to the point where there's absolutely no way they'll be able to afford them. So now we'll have people without health insurance. And before you right-wingers out there start giving me a hard time about, well, maybe everybody doesn't need health insurance, just remind yourself, what do you think happens to people that get hit by a car in the street? They get picked up by an ambulance, they go to an ER, they don't have money to pay for it. You pay for that. Wouldn't you rather have them have insurance, even bad insurance, to cover at least those kinds of catastrophic care? Let alone, like, why don't we let people get a flu shot if they want at flu season, or let their kids be vaccinated? Now, arguably, the kids under most state health care programs do get covered, unless I guess you're in Florida these days. So there's a lot of that. Like, That's the line that the GOP is doing. Like, they're constantly, we have a plan. Their plan was in the big, beautiful bill, and they cut $1 trillion out of the healthcare system. And all the Democrats are asking for, they're not asking for a single new thing. They're asking that the subsidies for the exchanges for healthcare do not expire at the end of the year. That's it. Something we've had since Obama was in, and they just wanted to extend so that these costs don't double, triple, and quadruple. And as Brian Tyler Cohen so rightfully pointed out, the main reason they don't want to do it is because it's one of Obama's great successes, and the Republicans just hate the fact that Obama did anything good for this country. They cannot stand that thought. They cannot stand that idea. So they are just sitting there just all mad like a petulant child because we actually have something that helped out millions of Americans, and it's attributed to Obama because he's the one that did it. And honestly, they should have just left it as the Affordable Care Act. They're the dipshits that decided to call it Obamacare. Obama never called it Obamacare. As far as I'm aware, there's only one president in modern history that names everything after himself, and that rhymes with dump, because that's exactly what he is. So this is what we got. This is where we're at. And the upside, and then I'll shut up about it, the upside is that 2/3 of Americans, according to recent polling, now blame squarely the Republicans for the shutdown and the ongoing shutdown because they want them to make this deal with Democrats. That's it. The only people that are still thinking that the Republicans should just hold out and make the Democrats suck it are Republicans with a good job, with their own health insurance through their job, that don't even live this life. And I guarantee you, every single Republican that is for holding out and continuing the shutdown is loving the fact that poor people are getting screwed over. They can tell you whatever you want, but there is no other justification at this point. Any Republican that is still supporting the Republican shutdown is only doing it because they hate poor people. They think they're lazy. They don't care about their circumstances. They don't care about what emergency debt they've incurred. They don't care if their identity has been stolen or their credit has been ruined. They do not care. They don't care if you have a sick parent. They don't care if you have a disabled child. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, you should be able to pick yourself up by your bootstraps in a poor job market, in a terrible salary market, in an expensive food market. You should be able to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and do exactly what they did. They are selfish, they are arrogant, and they are complete assholes. And any time you run into a Republican that is still supporting this shutdown, that's exactly who you're talking to. And if they don't think so, they can come talk to me about it, because I'll prove it to them, because that's the only reason you could do this. It's not fiscal anything. If you're going to give billions and billions of dollars to Argentina to bail them out, and billions and billions of dollars to Israel, who seem like they don't actually need any help because they're striking Hamas again in Gaza. If you're going to keep doing that, then you can feed the American people. And if you can't figure that out, then you're an even bigger retard than I thought you were last week, which is completely possible. So, anyway, I've talked too much, or not enough, depending on who you are. Probably too much. I wouldn't want to follow that diatribe with anybody like that just wasn't expecting it, because not a lot of people want to be associated with it. But I feel like I can speak for my buddy Jimmy when he's just like, yeah, man, why don't we just feed people? So that's how we're kicking off the box today. It's my buddy Jimmy and his blue notebook. Doesn't have to be blue, just happens to be.